I'm Bob Harris of Decorative Concrete Institute. Welcome to Duramin's training and educational series for industrial and decorative flooring systems. On this panel, we're going to prepare for the application of Param 6000, and we're going to show polishing after we've installed the cementitious self-leveling overlay. Preparation is paramount when you're putting a system down like this, and it starts with preparing the concrete substrate. Now, generally, you want to obtain a CSP, which stands for Concrete Surface Profile, of somewhere between 3 to 4. You can get the chips, the profile chips from the International Concrete Repair Institute, and it shows you what the profile should be. This system requires 3 to 4. You can obtain a 3 to 4 usually by shot blasting or dustless grinding. If it's a small project, you can use a handheld 7-inch grinder with a cup wheel. You want to open the pores of the concrete and have a surface that feels perhaps the equivalent of about an 80 grit to a 100 grit sandpaper. If you have any cracks, you need to address the cracks, or that could potentially telegraph through in your final cementitious overlay. You can use structural urethanes to repair those cracks, get the right profile, and then the next step here, as we're about to do, is demonstrate E10, which is 100% solids epoxy as a prime coat. So what we're going to do is roll down the E10. On a large project, you can use what's referred to as a notched squeegee. Check the manufacturer's guidelines on the thickness of the notch that you want to use. But this puts it down real quick, and it gives the proper depth per the specifications. And after you've notched squeegee, you're going to always want to come back and back roll. Once we've covered the entire surface, we're going to broadcast preferably a 20-30 or a 30 mesh sand. The sand needs to be a dried sand. You can't use play sand from a building supply house because that retains a lot of moisture. And so it absolutely needs to be a dried sand. I use a lot of sandblast sand, which they've dried in an oven prior to the packaging, so that's super crucial. The mixing of the E10 is super crucial also. You want to always look at what the manufacturer suggests on their labels and their technical documents. And this mix ratio is a 4 to 1, meaning 4 parts A, which is the 5-gallon bucket, to 1 part B, which is the smaller 1-gallon can. It is very crucial that you always keep those proportions accurate to the point where you can see we've got measures on the side here, 4 quarts to 1 quart. Doesn't matter how much. It could be 4 ounces to 1 ounce. Whatever the volume is, be very specific on your 4 to 1 ratio and maintain that. If you're going to mix a big batch, like for example, if we mixed a whole 5-gallon kit, you need to get it out of the bucket extremely quick. Epoxies in volume like that generate a lot of heat, and you'd probably have about 1 minute in the 5-gallon bucket to get it out of the bucket, and it starts to generate heat. You'll actually start to see it smoke. So you can use smaller batches, get it on the floor, and you'll have plenty of working time. Get it out of the bucket, out of the mass, and we'll get good to go there. So what we're going to do is go ahead, and Joe's going to start mixing the E10. He's already weighed out the proportions to 4 to 1. And he's going to use a variable speed drill. We're just mixing small batches for the purpose of this video. And so he's going to use what's called a squirrel mixer. You don't want to go full speed. That could entrain air into the mix. So just low to medium speed is all you really need. And even in this volume right here, you want to mix for 2 to 3 minutes and then get it out of the bucket. So it's not uncommon to just pour ribbons on the floor, not squeegee. Second person just goes with the back roll. All right, we're using a 3/8 inch nap roller here, lint-free preferably. In future videos, we're going to talk about the importance of delinting the roller, like on a finish coat, for example. Not quite as crucial here, simply because we're going to be broadcasting the silica sand to refusal. So I'm not as concerned about creating a real perfect surface because of all the amount of sand. All right, dump the rest of that. So on an actual project, we would have other helpers right now in their spiked shoes broadcasting the sand. So you want to go ahead and start with the sand broadcast. You don't want to throw it down in a big clump either. So typically what you'll do, and I'll get the guys started here to show you, make sure you have uniform coverage on the edges. I've seen a lot of instances where people don't pay close attention to rolling down the epoxy on the edges, and then you don't have any sand that's going to bond. So you'll notice how I'm throwing it down here. I'm not throwing it in a big clump, and so you'll see guys just come in here and keep throwing it. We use the term to refusal, like right there, for example. Even with that, if you're putting it at thicknesses that are thicker than, say, 8 mil, the sand will, over time, level out, and you'll see shiny spots. Generally, manufacturers will suggest somewhere in the vicinity of 1 pound per square foot, meaning 1 pound of sand per 1 foot by 1 foot area, surface area. But I don't even like that. Just keep throwing sand till there's no more shiny spots. You can already see it out there, right there. So you need to keep throwing. So even with that amount of sand, within about 3 to 5 minutes time, you'll see some smooth and shiny spots. Put more sand on it, okay? Super crucial, because that's gonna help the Param 6000 bond. So tomorrow, once this is dry, we'll go ahead and vacuum, sweep, take a floor scraper, scrape any burrs off, make sure we have a clean surface, and we're ready for the installation of the polishable, self-leveling Param 6000.